Hello.
How's it going?
Hi, class. Good, guys.
So this is it, and we're learning about volume and matter in class right now. And these guys have a couple questions for you. So,
all right.
Lucy, she's
Shoot.
in medical school, going to be a physical therapist. Does anyone want to start? Anyone have question number one they want to ask?
Oh, me.
Yes, Miguel.
How many years did in college?
He asked, how many years have you been in college? And I think he was kind of getting at how many years does it take in medical school?
I see. Well, first, you go to college for 4 years. And then for me personally, for physical therapy school, I go to 3 more years after that. So that's a special kind of medical school.
So after high school,
total of 7.
Teacher, Miss Luque, she has a question for you. I don't know if you can see her.
I just want you to explain what a physical therapist does.
She said, okay.
Okay, so that's what I probably should have done in the beginning, but I'll do it now. So a physical therapist is a special kind of doctor, and what I like to do is people that have pain, sometimes if they have back pain or shoulder pain or things like that hurts when they move, I help them get rid of their pain and help decrease it. And people who have weak muscles, I can help them make their muscles stronger so that they can move better.
What about Jonathan? You have a question for her? Okay, speak up, okay?
Why do you want to be a doctor?
He asks, why do you want to be a doctor or a physical therapist?
That is a great question. So my favorite thing to do is to help people, and there's lots of different ways to help people, but I found that I think I'll be pretty good at helping people as a doctor because I like bones and muscles, and that's a way that I can help people in physical therapy is get them stronger and help them get rid of pain if they have any pain.
Cool. Anyone in here want to be a doctor?
No.
Yeah?
No.
Jamelia, you want to be a doctor too? Okay, Octavio, what about you? Do you have a question?
When you were in high school, what was your favorite subject?
So what was your favorite subject in high school?
I had a lot of favorites, but I have to say that my favorite was maybe chemistry or biology.
So
I like sciences,
she
so
likes science, yeah.
basically science.
What about Adam? Do you have a question on your card you want to ask her?
When did you decide to be a doctor?
When did you decide that you wanted to be a physical therapist?
Wow. It took me a while, but I went to college, and when I was in my 4th year of college, that's when I decided I wanted to be a doctor.
Okay.
But a lot of people decide way after that. I have people in my class that worked in other careers for 10 years, and then all of a sudden they wanted to switch, and they came to physical therapy school instead.
So even people who, let's say, they graduated from college and they have another job and they're older now with kids, they can even decide to go back to be a doctor?
You betcha.
Okay. How are the classes? How hard are your classes?
My classes are, they're pretty hard, but they're harder in the beginning, and then over time it gets easier because once you learn the information, it gets easier to remember it. So, and they're also very fun. So even though it might be hard, it seems easier because it's really interesting and fun to learn.
So how much time after class do you spend studying or doing homework or other stuff like that?
Well, I definitely study every day when I get home, but I always make sure that I plan breaks. So definitely several hours every day.
And do you always study by yourself or do you study with other people?
No, sometimes I study by myself, but other times I study with my classmates because I think it's very important to work together to learn things because you can't always learn everything by yourself. And sometimes people help you learn things in new ways that you didn't think of before. So that's a good thing to study with other people sometimes.
Sky.
What does she work at?
She asked, where do you work? She's in medical school right now, but maybe, do you know where you want to work, or are you going to be working in a hospital setting or in a doctor's office? Or
You know, that's a good question, and right now I have no idea where I want to work. So I'm trying out as many different settings as I can, and that's what we get to do when we're in school. We get to work in different kinds of settings and figure out what we like best by the end.
Yeah, Ricardo.
What kind of sport does he do?
What kind of?
Sports.
Oh, what kind of? He asked, what kind of sports do you like to play?
Oh my gosh, I love that you asked that question. My favorite sport is volleyball.
Do you see any old friends at your new college, or have you made a lot of friends over there?
You know, I have a lot of old friends like Rudy and Mr. Cabrera. I have a lot of old friends, and I have a lot of new friends too. So I have a nice balance, and I do talk to a lot of people from when I was in, 5th grade, 8th grade, high school, college, and now the second college I'm going to. I have friends in all the different places.
And so, why don't you go ahead and lead us in that demonstration that you were going to?
Alrighty. Okay. So have you guys learned about volume measurements?
Yeah, we were doing volume actually this past week in class. Yeah.
Okay. Does anybody want to tell me why we do volume measurements?
Want to give it a shot?
And why we can't do it on a piece of paper?
Why do we measure stuff using water and not just paper? Yeah. Yeah, Miguel.
Water is more simple to measure.
It's more simple to observe. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's
Ricardo.
true.
It's more faster than doing the work.
It's faster and maybe breaks up the monotony of working with pencil and paper. Yeah.
You break the pencil.
Well, as a physical therapist, what is the answer? Why do we use volume measurements?
I'm going to tell you. Well, those two are definitely part of the answer, and then the third part of the answer is that not everything is a regular shape. I mean, if you look at my hand here, how would you measure this on a pencil and paper? I mean, there's so many weird angles going on here. We need to use water to do that. So whenever you have an irregular shaped object, so a funny shaped object like my hand, we can use volume measurement. So I'm going to show you how to do that here. Okay. So what you wanted?
You have a beaker of water. Is that what you have there?
I do. I have a measuring cup.
Okay. You know what? We have 3 measuring cups here too, and I'm just going to pass out these measuring cups so the kids can follow along with you. Okay?
So first of all, you take your beaker or measuring cup and you find the scale on the side. It's really hard to see on mine, so I'll try to explain it as best as possible. You look at the scale, and this one is in milliliters. So you fill the beaker to a specific level. It doesn't really matter which one, as long as you write down which level that you're starting at. Let's do it with the rock, and then I'll explain it how I can use it with the hand.
Okay.
I have rocks too. That would be easier, so I don't get my hand all wet.
Okay.
All right. So then you take your rock, and you put it gently inside.
Get your rock and go ahead and put it inside. Try not to drop it from really high up so it doesn't splash.
Yeah, you want to keep all the water inside. Don't let the water splash out, because that'll mess up the measurement.
Okay, so they've done that.
Okay, and now you go look back at the scale, and you want to look and see what happened to the water level. Did it go down? Did it go up? Or did it stay the same?
What did you guys observe? It went up? Okay, so in every instance, the water level went up. It increased.
Okay, and how much did it go up?
So 2 of them are at about 350, and then the large rock, it pushed the water up to 400 milliliters.
Okay, and mine pushed it up to 750. So what you want to do is you take the higher number and you subtract the lower number.
Okay. So now we subtracted it and we got 100.
All right. So the 100, that number that you got, that is the volume of the rock that you put inside the cup.
So you were able to measure the volume of this rock even though it's not perfect. And would there even be another way we can measure? Or is this probably one of the only ways we can? One of the simpler ways?
This is probably one of the simpler ways. This is really the only way I would use unless I was able to do it on paper. But when you have a funny shaped object like a rock or a hand, you you should do the water. It's usually a good way. There's other ways of doing it, but
Very cool. And
Yeah.
you were at first going to show us with your hand. Do you want to show us with your
Yeah.
hand? And why would you put your hand in there?
I will show you. So sometimes when I'm working with certain patients, maybe they had an injury to their hand and it makes their hand really, really swollen. And when their hand is really swollen, they can't move it very well. So what I want to do to treat them is do certain things to decrease the swelling. So when they first come in, what I'm going to do, I want to see how much swelling are they starting with, and can I get that swelling to go down? So I want to know how much volume does their hand have, how much swelling. So what I'm going to do is find a specific point on their hand, and I'm going to mark it with a permanent marker. Pretend I'm doing that. Because when I measure their hand later, I want to make sure I'm measuring to the same spot. Because that's very important that you measure the same to the same spot when you're doing the hand. Okay? So what I would do is I have my swollen hand, and I'm going to stick it in the water down to the permanent marker line, and I'm going to see how far the water went up. So then I can get the volume of my hand. Does that make sense so far, or am I going too fast?
Does that make sense to everyone? So she
Yeah.
made a mark on her hand. Okay. Probably, do you all have like that little bump on your wrist? So she'll probably make it somewhere around right there, and she puts her hand in the water, and she's going to see how high the water rose. Okay, and just like we did with the rocks, we can find the volume of her hand. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Yeah,
then
go
you
ahead.
take the volume of your hand and you write it down, and then I do my treatment and say maybe a week later, I want to see if my treatment's working. You know, is there swelling going down? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the patient's hand, I'm going to go back to that little spot that I found, and I'm going to remeasure their volume. And what I want to see, if I want to decrease the swelling, I want to see if their volume decreases. So this time I put the hand in, and if their swelling went down, then they're going to have a smaller volume. And that would tell me that my treatment's working.
Very cool. So you guys understand that? So have you ever seen a swollen hand before? Like, have you ever hit it maybe with a hammer or got it caught in a door and then your hand swells up? So that's what she's talking about. She's going to measure it before when it's really, really fat, and then she's gonna do some therapy on it to make it try to feel better. And then a week later, she's gonna see if the swelling went down, and she measures it the exact same way. And so she can tell by the volume of your hand, by the volume of, I guess, the swelling inside. If it went down, then that means it's working. That means you're getting better. But if it increases, then what do you think happens? If the swelling went up after a week, is it working or is it not working? It's not working, yeah. Okay. So I think they got it. I think you have a class full of future physical therapists in here.
All right.
You have another
And
question?
volleyball players.
And volleyball players, yeah. Or she asks, when you become a doctor, are you going to be working with kids or adults or both?
You know what? I might be working with both because right now I'm not quite sure what kind of setting I want to work in. I would love to work with kids, but I would also love to work with adults. So hopefully I get to work with everyone. What school am I going to?
Yes.
I'm going to a school in St. Louis. It's in Missouri, in the middle of the country.
So Missouri is pretty far away, and we're able to talk to her, and she's halfway across the country right now. So I think that's pretty cool. Okay, one more, and then we're probably going to have to wrap things up here. Yeah?
Is it going to be hard to be a doctor?
You think it's going to be hard to be a doctor?
I think it's going to be a lot of hard work, but it's going to be totally worth it, and I'm going to love it so much that the hard work, it's not going to seem hard because it's going to be so much fun. And that's how I feel right now.
All right. All right, well, thank you so much. This was really great. You guys want to say thank you to Lucy? Say thank you, Lucy.
Thank you, Lucy.
All right, thanks a lot, Lucy, and we hope to do this again in the future sometime.
Yeah, definitely. Just let me know.
All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.